Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am here for my first story time video. This is a hard one. I think I might struggle with this series, or maybe it'll just get easier over time. I'm willing to give it a shot. First, I didn't know where I felt like sitting. My two favorite places to talk to you guys is in my car and right here in front of my computer in my chair that I can go like this because I'm very animated and I need to be moving. So I'm just going to sit right here. I think you're okay with that. The other thing is that when I think of all kinds of things in my past, it's hard to pick the right things for me to talk about because if I go too far back and I'm like into my childhood, I get sad. I don't like walking down memory lane. Walking down memory lane a little bit later in my life, late teens, young adult, they're not really sad, but they're mostly drunk stories. But I think I'd rather talk about drunk things than make myself cry. And then I do have some like really bizarre off the wall kinds of stories. I don't know. See, I don't know. I'm just going to get started and we'll just learn as we go. So what story time is basically is just a little snippet of my life that I probably would never normally talk about because it would just never come up in conversation during my videos. You know, I know a lot of you do know snippets of my life because sometimes when I'm talking to you, I'll reflect on something from my past and I tell you about it. But this is just going to be videos about just whatever. First of all, I did want to say I had put a poll up to see if you guys wanted story time or pet peeves first. I will be doing both, but story time won. It was 52% for story time and 47% for pet peeves. And why does it always equal 99%? Can't they make it to 100%? I mean, just what kind of polls are these? Every one of them that I have done, I think, has equaled 99%. We had a total of 266 people vote. So 139 went for story time, 127 went for pet peeves. So pet peeves is coming soon. I thought about all kinds of little stories. I'm just going to start with one that means absolutely nothing to me. But I have a very vivid memory for a lot of things in my past, even though half the time I was drunk. I was never one to lose my memory. I mean, I never like blacked out. I shouldn't say never. I did black out once in my life. But I wasn't one to drink to the point of, you know, passing out and waking up and saying, what did I do? Sadly, I always remembered what I did. For some reason, there are some things that just stick in my head as though they just happened yesterday. And a lot of these things repeat themselves in my mind, almost like there's like a recording just playing over and over and over again. I should talk about that more because I would like to know if there's anybody else out there like as wackadoodle as me. But it's just to kind of let you know that there are many things that I have a very vivid memory about. And I'm pretty honest, and if I'm telling you a story about my life, what I'm telling you is the truth to the best of my knowledge, and if I'm not sure, I'll always tell you. Wish most of it wasn't true. Let's start with the night I dated a fireman. I worked at Domino's Pizza in the late 80s. I believe it was 85 through 87, and I was like 25 years old, 26, 27. Domino's Pizza in Sanford is butt up against the fire station. We used to go out the back door to deliver the pizzas. I absolutely loved that job. I did. Because I didn't have to really deal with people. I had to go to a door and hand pizza and get money, but it was quick. It was like, just liked that. And I will say, I did not drink and drive while I was working. I drank a lot of times after, but I never got in a Domino's truck or my own car and drank while I was delivering pizza because I knew I could lose my job if I did that. I used to go out that back door all the time, and the fire department had a back door also where the firemen used to sit, eat, whatever, just chat, and we'd wave to each other or, you know, just say, hi, how you doing today? And never really got like to know them, but there was this one particular fireman that I would catch him sitting back there and we would wave to each other or just nod or whatever. And I thought he was cute. He had like brown hair and, you know, he just looked cute and nice, and we would just wave to each other. So one day, out of the blue, my phone rings at home. Oh, and the other thing is, I hate phones, and I had a hard time with the phones at Domino's. But because it's business, I excelled at that phone. I loved picking up that phone, taking the orders. It's funny how if it's personal, my personal life, I hate things, but I can do things if it's for business reasons. I don't know, just a nutcase. So my phone rings, and it was a man, and he says, calls me by name. He's like, "Hi, Darlene." He says, "I know you don't know who this is." He says, and he tells me his name, and I can't remember his name. And he said, "I just was calling to see if you might like to go out sometime." And I'm like, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm one of the firemen. I know you work at Domino's, and I'm one of the firemen there." And I was like, "How did you get my phone number?" He's like, "Well," he says, "got connections with the police station, so I got your license plate, and I got them to give me your phone number." So right away, I'm thinking, I don't like that. I mean, it's like, the police gave you my phone number? Don't you think that's just wrong? But all I'm thinking is, ooh, free night out coming up. So I'm still listening to the guy. And I did say to him, geez, I can't believe that they did that, And so we start talking a little bit, and I'm like, "Which one are you?" And he goes, "I'm always out back there, and I see you going in and out of Domino's building." And I said, "Are you the one with brown hair? And we wave to each other every now and then?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And now I'm like, all, ooh, Mr. Waving guy likes me. I was like, "Sure, we can go out." I don't remember him telling me what we were going to do, but we made a date. And he was going to pick me up at a certain night. And I do know that after that phone call, the only time I ever saw him was when he came to pick me up. I didn't see him at all at Domino's. I don't know how much of a span. I'm hoping he didn't call me the day of the date. I don't think so. I think there was a few days' notice. But I didn't run into him, or I didn't wave and say, "Hi." Thank God, because when this guy came to the door, it was not at all who I thought it was. I would have felt like a fool if the cute brown hair guy was there and I was like, "Yeah, I'll see you Saturday night." And he'd have been like, "What the hell is she talking about?" So I answered the door, and there's this guy standing there, and I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed because I instantly know he has to know that I had no clue who he was, because I asked him if he was the brown-haired guy who waves to me, that we wave to each other, and he says yes. He had no hair except a little bit of fuzz around the sides, and it was very light. The whole top of his head was completely bald. So I was like, when I asked if he had brown hair, that would have been a good time to say, "Well, no, that's not me. That's probably the other guy that waves to you," And I know I never waved back and forth to this man. Now, nothing against bald-headed, but I knew this guy just didn't give a shit. He was going to just take me out. He didn't care if I knew which one he was. So I was really insulted, but again, I'm thinking, hey, free night of drinking, I'm going. So he has a truck. I get in his truck. First thing I say is, "Can we stop and get some beer?" No. No drinking in the vehicle. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I got a long ride to wherever we're going. So I try to light up a cigarette. No smoking. I'm like, okay, I understand. Some people don't like smoking, but I was like, where are we going? We're going to a movie. So he takes me to Portland. I'm in Sanford, which is 45 minutes, maybe to an hour by the time we park and get out, to a freaking movie. We're not even going to a club, So we drive all the way there. I was so completely bored out of my mind. I have no clue what we talked about. We went to this movie, and then I'm like, "There's some clubs around here we could go to?" "No, we're going home. I have to go to bed." And it was not a late show. I think we went to the 8 o'clock movie or whatever. And I was like, hey, okay. And so he brings me all the way home, and I get out of that truck. I didn't even give him a chance to walk me to the door, nothing. I was just so pissed that I had wasted a whole night, and that was it. And I was like, how am I going to face this guy? And I was like, that doesn't matter. He is never going to want anything to do with me because I was just so completely rude. He has to know that I was bored beyond tears, and that I'm obviously an alcoholic who wants to drink more than anything, even if it's at the risk of him losing his license. All I know is that sometime later, and it was a significant amount of time, like weeks, because I was dating somebody else at the time, I get a call. And this guy is on the phone asking me to go out with him New Year's Eve, but tells me that he wants to be home by 11 p.m. I'm like, sorry. I know that sounds like way too exciting. I want to go out on New Year's Eve and be home before the ball drops. And I told him, I says, no, I'm actually seeing someone, so thanks, but no thanks. Now, wouldn't it be funny if that guy was never even a fireman? He's probably just some guy who lived across the street or whatever and just watched me and stalked me and got my phone number. But that was my date with the fireman. I'm going to assume he was a fireman. I would hate to think the police would give my phone number out to somebody who wasn't. So. But I wasn't very picky. I dated a lot. I had a lot of dates, one-time dates, because I loved going out on dates. Again, most of them fed me booze, so that was good. So that's the end of this story. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to any bad dates like that. I mean, it was a bad date. I think I only had one of the date that I hated even more, and it's the guy who took me not to miniature golf, but it's a pitch and putt that we have here. It's a par 3, so it's more like actual golf where you have to swing like a golfer, which I can't do. And he was frigging cheating on the scorecard. Oh my God, I have a lot of dating stories. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this first little story time. And if you are a fireman that remembers going out with me, sorry, but you were boring. You probably made an awesome husband later in life with a normal person who wanted an actual relationship as opposed to somebody who would open her beer. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.